generosity of all the individuals, community members, and businesses that make all of this possible. We thank you for all our Chesterfield County Public Schools, for all the staff and their dedication to our children. We thank you for each student, because each of them is a precious gift from you. We ask for their safety and protection. We ask for willing hearts to learn. We ask for humble spirits to receive instruction. We also ask for wisdom for our teachers, for our counselors, and for our administrators. We ask for them. We pray for patience. We ask that you will fill their hearts with love towards our children. We ask that you would help them to see those in need, those that may be going through challenges at home, and show compassion to them. All these things that we are asking, like love, like compassion, like patience, those are reflections of your own character, Lord. And so we praise you because you are good and faithful, and your mercies are new every day. And Lord, we also thank you for the meal we're about to enjoy. We pray for a blessing over this facility. We pray for the staff that's serving today. And Lord, we pray that you will give us a heart of gratitude, and not just for this season, but as a lifestyle. And it's in the precious name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
Y'all can clap for the prayer. It's okay to clap for the prayer. I saw 2 or 3 like, am I supposed to clap for the prayer? Yes, it is okay. A couple of announcements before I bring our next person up to do a quick acknowledgement of our sponsors. In the back of your name tags, you have the meal that you prefer. Be sure to pull this out and sit this in front of you so that the servers can know which meal you should be served. At this point, I would like to ask Robert to come on up and speak about what we have going on with our sponsors and give an official welcome. Y'all show some love for Mr. Robert Block.
All right, what an amazing night we're going to have tonight. I'm so excited to be here. First off, my name's Rob Locke. I'm president of the board of directors for the Education Foundation, and want to thank you all for coming and supporting both CEF and our amazing Bravo honorees. We're going to get to hear from them in a little bit, but first we're going to go through and talk about some of our sponsors. So first I want to call up Regional Vice President Scott Perrin from our title sponsor, Anthem. Scott?
Well, good evening, everybody. As Rob said, my name's Scott Perrin, and I'm with Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And we're honored to be part of the celebration this evening and this event each year. You know, one of Anthem's missions is to help improve the communities that we serve. And I can't think of a better organization to help than the Chesterfield Educational Foundation. So we give back not only through our insurance products, but through financial support. And I started coming to the Bravo Awards about 4 years ago, and I can tell you, every year I am so impressed by the accomplishments of the honorees, the Chesterfield Education Foundation, and Chesterfield, County in schools, and truly look forward to coming to the event each year. So I want, on behalf of Anthem, to express congratulations to the award winners this evening, and we hope you all enjoy your evening and your dinner. Thank you.
All right, so first off, thank you, Anthem. Title sponsorship is an amazing thing. It really helps our schools, and that's why we're all here. We're here to help the schools. So along with Anthem, we have other sponsors. Our gold sponsors tonight are Dominion Energy and Shameen Hotels. Our silver sponsors are Town Bank, Mosley Architects, NBC 12, CBS 6, and Kalen Hospitality. So let's have a round of applause for our sponsors. Okay, we also have some other esteemed guests present that we're here to celebrate with. So first I'd like to recognize the board members from the Chesterfield Education Foundation. Here we have Matt Clark, Ashley Anteline, Lauren Posey, Ryan Beethoven Wilson, Candace Hunter, Greg Gwaltney, John Urbach, Gene Cable, Rachel Krantz, Elena Bowen, Andrea Wilson, Claudia Mills, Betsy Peters, Jeff Sulenki, Tanya Osteri, Sean Smith, and Howard Corey. So let's have a round of applause for the board members. All right, this is something very special as well, and probably one of the most special things that we're going to have with us. So make your way, and I'm going to ask these individuals to please stand up. So these are former Bravo honorees that are here to celebrate with us for the new group of Bravo honorees. So let's have Dr. Angela Curtis please stand. Heather Russell, Dr. Lachelle Waller, Quentin Washington, Laura Nove, and Dr. Charles McLeod. Okay, thank you. Also joining us this evening is Delegate Carrie Coyner, the Chesterfield Board of Supervisors Chair Chris Winslow, and our Chesterfield County Administrator, Dr. Joe Casey. And finally, our school board is here tonight. I'd like to recognize the board chair, Ann Coker from the Bermuda District, Dot Heffron from the Clover Hill District, Debbie Bailey from the Dale District, Catherine Haynes from the Midlothian District, and Ryan Harder from the Matoaka District. Thank you, school board. The board chair, Ann Coker, has a few words she'd like to share with us. Ann?
Good evening. It is my honor to be the chair of the Chesterfield County School Board and to represent my school board colleagues this evening as we celebrate some very successful and inspiring CCPS graduates. We are exceptionally proud that Bill, Nick, Tanya, Javade, James, and Catherine have their roots in Chesterfield County Public Schools. Their impact on the world began right here in our community, and we are inspired by the light that shines from their accomplishments. They are a testament that all children in CCPS can experience the same level of success that our Bravo winners have achieved. Who is a greater role model for our children than those who grew up in the same backyard and attended the same schools? We also celebrate the success of each Bravo winner across the years, starting with the first group of alumni that were honored in 2009. Thanks to 2 decades of work by the Chesterfield Education Foundation, we have more than 80 Bravo Award winners to celebrate. Each Bravo winner represents the best of Chesterfield County Public Schools. You are remarkable role models for us all. Each Bravo Award winner has made the world and their community a better place. You are the why behind why teachers teach. As our wonderful superintendent often says, we are not here to just help some students. We are here to help all students find their path to successful futures. Thanks to the energy and the effort and investments across many years, our school division has been considered a leader in public education within Virginia and across the United States. Our outstanding teachers, support staff members, and leaders are top-notch educators whom others seek to emulate. And we heard this actually at the VSBA conference that the board just came from. I'm not telling you anything that you didn't already know when I say that successful communities are built on outstanding schools that help students achieve success. In addition to my title as a Chesterfield County School Board member, my other title with the school system is mom to 4 students in high school and in middle school. My children are the main reason I believe in the community-centered and success-creating power of public education. The importance of education cannot be overstated. And events like tonight's celebration offer us a chance to thank people who dedicate themselves to giving young people opportunities to succeed. So on behalf of the Chesterfield County School Board, congratulations to our Bravo honorees and to each teacher, coach, mentor, school leader, volunteer, and family member that helped them achieve this success. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our Superintendent of Chesterfield County Public Schools, Dr. Daugherty.
This is tough. They already passed out the rolls, and it's tough now. Well, I have a speech here. First of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming out to my birthday party. I'm really excited that you're here. Oh, no, wrong speech. Wait a minute. Make it. No. Hey, thanks for being here. You may not know a couple things about our school district. 64,431 students as of today. Soon to be, will be at 65 by the end of the year. We transport 55,000 students a day, over 26,000 miles. And from just a little point, you're eating here, but we have 35,000 of our students who receive a free meal every day. I want you to think about that. That is more students than Richmond and Petersburg combined total students. So when you think about the needs of our students, there are many. And there are several groups in here that help us. And everyone in this room, we want you to be a partner to help us. Because if we do not continue to support education, education will fail, your communities will fail, and our society will fail. It's a very simple formula. We have unbelievable teachers and administrators in our buildings that do fantastic jobs every day. We have partners like Connexus, Community in Schools, Mega Mentors, and the foundation helps us with reaching out. You know, you may not think having a book in your hand is an important issue, but there are students in our system that have no books in their house. You can be a donor of books to kids. There's a lot of things you could do to help us. The key from the night and meeting with friends and family and celebrating great successes is that we can never forget that every one of us had a community to support us. And it is our time for the community to support our children. Since I've been here, we've seen a lot of things occur. We have a strong partnership with our county government. We continue to work hard with them. They fully support education. Our community supports education. If you haven't noticed, people are moving into our area because of education. We're very proud of what we do, being fully accredited. But times are changing, and we need your help. So I'm going to ask you to think about this tonight. What can you do? What can you do to help a child? Not in your neighborhood, in Chesterfield. What can you do to help our children? We cannot do this alone. We need your help. And a great opportunity tonight is for you to be a partner with us and the foundation. We couldn't do it without them. We can't do it without you. I am so proud to be the superintendent of Chesterfield County because of the great people, not only in the school system, but in the community. And I will say this before I introduce Tyron. Mark your calendars for November 16, 2023. That's the next Bravo Award winner banquet. You know you had a great time in the reception. You're going to have a good time tonight. There's a card on your desk. Take a look at it. And I'm going to ask you to think about this as I leave. Our society is in a crisis right now. How can we make a difference? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of something great in Chesterfield. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Tyron, a good friend, and also the guy who gives us money. Thank you, Tyron.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it. Well, good evening, everyone. So when I look up here, I just want to ask our school board friends, is this the same things that's used in this? Never mind, I won't say that. All right, so there's a timer up here with little green, yellow, and red lights. So, and it's set actually to 3 minutes right now, so it's pretty interesting. Again, my name is Tyron Frazier. I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director for the Chesterfield Education Foundation. You all look amazing out there. It is so good to be back. 350 plus people here tonight. Yes. So amazing. I work with a great team serving, as you heard Dr. Doherty say, almost 65,000 kids in our county. Thank you, Dr. Doherty and Team Chesterfield. Thank you, Rob and the Board of Trustees for the Chesterfield Education Foundation. Most importantly, thank you to the CEF team. So Gina, Kathleen, Alicia, and Whitney, I appreciate you. You all are making this thing go and grow every single day. You all take all of the stress so I don't have to continue to dye my hair every other week. So I appreciate you. It's real. So thank you all for coming today, making sure that we can continue to ensure the promise to our teachers, students, and families here in Chesterfield County. We're here tonight to honor and celebrate 6 extraordinary CCPS alumni who are doing amazing work in our community. I can't wait to hear from Tanya, Catherine, Bill, Nick, James, and Javade. Your stories are amazing. What I've read so far is absolutely extraordinary. Can't wait to hear. So for you all that don't know, the Bravo Awards is, a special group of people. Every year we open it up to receive about 50 or so applications. We go and blitz TV stations like NBC 12 and others along the way to get the message out there. So we're looking for people who graduate, and mind you, there are about 4,000 graduates every single year in Chesterfield. So there are hundreds upon thousands of graduates that are out there in the community doing amazing work. So we are really honored to have these amazing people here tonight. Before I get started, I want to ask a few board members to join me on the stage. If Rob, Howard, and John can join me on the stage for a little bit, just really quickly. Come on, Howard. I see you. Come on, Howard. Where are you? All right. Thanks, Rob. So when I came to the foundation in 2018, we're a small organization. We're still a small organization, but doing really, really big work. And some of the work that we needed to do was for the internal team to make sure our team could have access to certain things, such as benefits. We've talked about this in our work, in our board meetings, and our committees for a really long time. And the school division said, hey, we want to offer you all benefits, but there's something that's blocking it. Right now, it's not specifically spelled out clearly in the law that it would allow the Education Foundation to receive benefits. Well, the board made a call, and that call went to a very close friend, Delegate Carrie Corner, who went out and said, yep, we're going to change this law. We're going to make it so not only Chesterfield Education Foundation's employees can receive the proper benefits to be able to thrive personally, but also the education foundations around the state of Virginia. So today I want to present this award to Delegate Carrie Corner. It says, thank you for your unwavering commitment to education. Carrie, you have carried the torch for a really long time. Carrie, come on up here and join us. I know. Thank you, Carrie.
So much. Thank you, guys.
Put this somewhere like in a prominent place in your office.
I will.
Yeah.
Front and center. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Thank you. So next, you all may know, for those that have been with us and those that have heard some things along the way about Chesterfield's work, you may know Chesterfield County Public Schools launched its very first early childhood education center in the old Harrogate Elementary. So if you haven't been there, it's amazing. It's where our youngest learners, our 3- and 4-year-olds, go to begin their schooling. It's amazing work. And so CEF partners really closely with the YMCA to make sure we can provide before and after school care to those youngest learners so their parents and family members can go to work and they can also, know that their child is in a safe place. Before and after school care and child care is important, but it's also not necessarily accessible to all. So I want to call up a person who you may have seen earlier, Principal Leslie Harris, to the stage to share a few comments about what's going on at CECLA and some touching stories. So Leslie, if you can join us on stage. Oh, look at you at the top. That is awesome. There you go. Okay, you want the podium? Gotcha. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, CCPS colleagues, community members, and guests. My name is Leslie Harris, and I have the great honor of serving as the principal of the Chester Early Childhood Learning Academy, the first standalone early learning center in Chesterfield County Public Schools. An investment in education is an investment in the future. An investment in early childhood education is an investment in a child's success at the most critical early developmental years. The work that our amazing staff engage in each day sets students up for success in kindergarten. We ensure that our developmentally appropriate instructional and social-emotional practices best meet the needs of all of our students. One of the best parts of my job is supporting families. I keep a smile file in my office full of cards and emails and letters that I receive from parents about the positive experience their child is having at our school. A parent shared with me at open house one evening that her 3-year-old had only been with us for a few weeks, but she had already noticed a huge improvement in his communication skills and confidence. She had tears in her eyes as she expressed her appreciation for her child's teachers. And isn't that what we want? We want confident, happy students that love coming to school, and we want parents that know their child is receiving the best possible educational experience. We had several students last year that were in smaller early childhood special education classrooms, and later in the year were able to transition to larger Head Start or Virginia Preschool Initiative classrooms due to improvements in their communication and social skills. Providing inclusive experiences for our students is a major goal at CECLA. We seek as many opportunities as possible for students with and without disabilities to engage with each other. We all have something wonderful to contribute to the world. As educators, we have the ability to inspire, to help students unlock the potential to dream and achieve their goals, meet their goals. One of my greatest memories from last year was observing some of our students reading to our superintendent, Dr. Doherty. They were reading books independently before kindergarten. Students were able to reach that milestone due to differentiated instructional practices and the support of our reading specialists who provided enrichment support to students. One student that was with us last year required significant support due to behavioral outbursts. He would frequently run out of the classroom, throw objects, hit students and staff. He required support with social emotional learning. He had some communication delays and was found eligible for speech services. We were able to get that student the speech services that he required and spent time teaching him coping skills, self-regulation strategies, and helped him to learn school routines. We work very closely with the family, connecting them with community resources such as Chesterfield County Mental Health, and now he is in kindergarten and thriving. Yes, let's clap for that. So you all have the opportunity tonight to partner with us in what I like to call our heart work, right? Your support will truly give a head start to the youngest scholars in Chesterfield County Public Schools, and I implore you to consider what contribution you can make today to really truly make a difference in the life of a child here in Chesterfield County. Thank you so very much for being here, and I hope you enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And so you all may have noticed that Leslie is also the lead singer in Claxton Brown. Let's give it up. Y'all are awesome. And so Leslie hit on one of the things that the foundation works on within our community. Early childhood education is important for us. We also work on removing barriers for our students. Dr. Doherty brought an initiative to the foundation around, I want to put book vending machines in every single school. And I said, well, so where are the hot fries and Snickers bars and Skittles going? And he said, no, there are going to be books in there. And so where kids can go and build their own home library. We also support our teachers. Last school year, we gave away $100,000 in teacher grants. So our teachers don't have to go inside of their pockets. So you all know. Yes, you did that. So we all know great teachers will go beyond all means to make sure their students can do exactly what they need to be successful. And we want to make sure we can help them do what they need with innovative projects and ideas. One of the other things we do is support our students. What we didn't hear about is Chesterfield Recovery Academy, but you all may know. So as you think about just your experience as an adult, right, you may know someone that is dealing with substance use challenges. So for me, we moved into a house back in November, about a year ago now, so last year, and the guy that did our yard work, we got to talking, he's a good guy, said, hey, my son is going through it. He was a kid, I think he was a sophomore in high school in Chesterfield. He said, my kid is going through it. He's got connected with the wrong group. He's smoking pot all the time. We're old when we say pot. Smoking pot all the time. Can't get him to go to school. He's not motivated. He's not motivated. And I said, hey, when something's happening, something's coming. The school division is trying to work on this program to help kids that are dealing with substance use issues. He said, I need it, Tyron. I do. I mean, it is, I'm at wit's end. I just want to give up on him because he's not doing what he needs to do. So earlier, the start of the school year around August, Chesterfield Recovery Academy opened, serving up to about 25 young people that are dealing with substance use issues right here in Chesterfield, but not just for our kids in Chesterfield. This is the very first of its kind, and with the help of the General Assembly, especially Delegate Corner, and a few others to make it work, this program is open and serving our kids around the region. All the way south is Surrey and Sussex, all the way up north is Hanover, free of charge to our kids that are dealing with substance use issues. It is a thing. And if you don't know a child that's dealing with one, it's okay, because there are kids that are dealing with these challenges every single year. It may not be the guy that takes care of the leaves that continue to fall in our front yard, in my front yard specifically, but it is his son. So he said to me, Tyron, he's in the program. I said, that's amazing. That's awesome. Tyron, he's still having challenges, but he's around people that are helping him. And by the way, that guy, Justin, that's the program coordinator. Justin is awesome. He gives them so many chances. And they have their own support group to help work them through their challenges. So it's my hope that not only his son gets enough treatment to feel like I can go back to my school and be successful and graduate, or I can do whatever I need and I can graduate right here where I have the supports put in place, right here in Chesterfield. CEF supports Chesterfield Recovery Academy to make sure they can provide the wraparound programs, whether it's partnering with the YMCA, whether it's the therapy dog. Today's Thursday, so the therapy dog is coming tomorrow on Friday for the very first time to make their program feel like school, even though they're going through one of the roughest times in their lives at 14, 15, 16, 17, or 18 years old. So we have two families that have gifted the foundation $50,000. And they said, Tyron, I want you to use that. I want you to use that and take it to Bravo and inspire the audience. So Dr. Doherty said, we cannot do it by ourselves. I asked you to consider a gift to CEF that's meaningful, to make sure that we can double the gift of those two families that have said, hey, here's your first 50. We want you to see you get to 100. So we can make sure every single student, every single teacher, every single counselor, social worker, custodian, bus driver has exactly what they need in order to give the very best to our kids every single day. So I ask you to consider a gift. You have the card on your table. I know there are probably some folks right now wondering where they are or how to do it, but you scan the QR code. You can also leave us a check on your way out today. But I ask that you consider making a gift to support the Chesterfield Education Foundation. Thank you for your time. Let's make sure we can get to 100 tonight. Let's make sure we can double our impact to what we need to do to make sure we can serve our kids. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Can we have one more round of applause for Tyron, Leslie, and all of those that are serving in such a tremendous capacity? I'm not going to be long, as I know the dinner has been served. Just want to give you one more heads up about another way that you can give, and also get a little bit when you give this way. On your table, you're going to see the silent auction pamphlets. As well, scan the QR code. Anybody that's over the age of 50 or 60 that don't know what a QR code is, find somebody that's under the age of 40. They will help you out. Trust me on this. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. Find the QR code. We have great prizes. A beachfront spring break at the Outer Banks, 2 tickets to the Washington Nationals game, a signed Muhammad Ali photo, a $1,000 Amazon gift card, and a Dallas Cowboys framed photo. We only have the Dallas Cowboys framed photo because we feel sorry for them and we feel like they should be marketed. But at this moment, dinner will be served. When I come back, we're going to have those honorees that we came here to celebrate. All right, we're going to move forward with our program. Please continue to eat, continue to finish your meal. And often when we come to events like this, those that don't get the acknowledgement and the appreciation that they deserve are the servers. So will you please give all of these servers here a round of applause for working hard to making sure that we're well taken care of. We really appreciate you. Well, I really hope that you'll enjoy the evening thus far. We did not get to hear them as much as I'm sure we would like. Miss Leslie came up and spoke, who's the lead singer, but there's an incredible band over there by the name of Claxton Band. Give them a round of applause as well for being here. I started my own band, and I had to text one of the singers in my band and asked, had they ever heard of Claxton? And she says, yes. Her name is Amber Hughes. She's a music teacher in Richmond Public Schools. And when I said that, I was like, they have one of the sickest, which means great, horn sections that I've ever heard in any Richmond or any other band. And I really hope that you get to hear this horn section that they have. It is absolutely amazing. Y'all sound good. My first instrument was a trumpet. So I have a heart for those horns. So I hope that we get to hear those horns before we leave out of here tonight. Hopefully you had a chance to look at all the great items for purchase through the silent auction. I would like to recognize the remaining table sponsors. And please hold applause until I'm done with them. Timmons Group, the Hunt Institute, CCPS, Spots Fame, Eggs Up Grill, Wegmans, and Strawberry Studios. Please give them a round of applause for their support for tonight's event. And now for the reason that we are here. The Bravo selection process quite simply begins with a nomination. The only requirement is that the nominee has graduated from a Chesterfield County school. A committee comprised of CEF trustees, CCPS school board administrations, and prominent community partners reviews the nomination and selects the honorees. This year, we have 6 outstanding graduates to recognize. The principals of the schools that the honorees attended will now come to the stage. If principals from those schools could please come on up, start to make your way. Will now come to the stage and introduce our 2022 honorees, and with the assistance of a student ambassador from their school, will present the honorees with their awards. So we can have all of those principals to please come to the stage so we can start honoring those that are so deserving. You can clap for the principals. Yeah, you can clap for the principals. 65,000 students they work with. Y'all can clap a whole lot better for these principals that are doing the grudge work. And first up, and it will go from one to the other, Marcy Rice.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Dr. Marcy Rice, and I'm the principal of Meadowbrook High School. We are nestled in the Dale District of Chesterfield County, and we consider ourselves to be one of the best kept secrets of Chesterfield. We are home to 2 specialty centers, our International Baccalaureate program, as well as our Meadowbrook Academy for developing entrepreneurs, as well as the Claude Moore program, and we are proud to be one of the premier Claude Moore program sites in the state of Virginia. Tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Bill Bevins. Bill practically needs no introduction. He has been gracing local TV screens for over 50 years and is currently a co-host of Virginia This Morning on WTVR CBS 6. Bill worked through the 70s at WSVS and at the WHAP in Hopewell, WRNL, and WRXL in Richmond, and in 1982 joined a new station, WEZS EZ104, which became WMXB B103. In 1991, he joined another new station, WTVR Light 98, where after much success, Bill says he was lucky enough to ask Shelley Perkins to be his producer. Ms. Perkins became Bill's on-air partner and an amazing friend who is now very much a part of his family. In 1996, Bill was recognized as Broadcaster of the Year by the Richmond Broadcaster Hall of Fame, and in 1998, they recognized him with the Lifetime Achievement Award. In the early 2000s, Bill received the Lewis Mishaw Award for service to the disabled from Central Virginia Easter Seals, and during those years served as the host of the Boys and Girls Club dinners. He was also awarded the Seven Seals Award for support of our armed services and the Hometown Hero Award from the American Red Cross for his work during Hurricane Isabel. In 2014, Bill was inducted into the Virginia Commonwealth University Virginia Communications Hall of Fame, and from 1992 until 2014 was chosen by the readers of Richmond Magazine for the Best Broadcaster, Best Voice, Best Morning Show with Shelley, and other categories. Please help me welcome to the stage Bill Bevins, and as he likes to say, all the way Monarchs.
They put me first. Let's get this over with. So, thank you, Dr. Rice. I had a chance to go to Meadowbrook yesterday, and Dr. Rice brought in about 60, 70, maybe 100 kids into the auditorium. Had a great time with them, and they asked great questions. They were more enamored of the fact that Meadowbrook at one point actually had live lions as our mascot than they were interested in me. And they didn't believe me at first, but after a while I convinced them it was a true thing. It actually happened. And we had a great time. The kids are fantastic. Meadowbrook now, she says it's, a secret. The school is huge compared to what it was when I was there. I mean, it was small then, and it's so much bigger then. Of course, I was there during the Lincoln administration, so. Big thank you to Tyron Fraser and the Chesterfield Education Foundation, Dr. Rice, the principal of Meadowbrook High School, and thanks to Dr. Rice, I have a big announcement to make a little bit later on. But as some of you may know, I've served as the MC a couple of times for this actual event. And it was amazing to me to actually sit where you're sitting and see the caliber of people that won this award. Every year I'd go home and I go, these are just off the scale, fantastic people. So I'm a little confused. What went wrong? I'm standing, now, I did a lot of things in my career, and along with my friend Steve Leonard, we calculated at one time we gave away or helped give away or raise at least $1 million for charities around Richmond. But I had 50 years to do it, so it wasn't all at once. But still, it's just amazing to me that I am here. So, I'm not sure how I got chosen for this award. I mean, look at the other recipients we have tonight. There's an actual rocket scientist. There's an award-winning business entrepreneur who is just fantastic. There's a world-class humanitarian. A former Secretary of Education is here tonight to win an award. And a great humanitarian who does wonderful work at the Sacred Heart Center. So, I'm gonna need my glasses. I've got them, good. So, here's the thing. Oh, and we have a person who worked at Georgetown and helped, the university, Georgetown, yeah. So, you throw in a disc jockey. Now, all of you have done this with your children or your grandchildren. You've played that game. One of these is not like the others. So, These are people that make the world a better place. They've done all of that while I was drinking coffee and playing Boy George records. Just doesn't seem right to me. But seriously, it's like one of those things that just blows my mind that they even thought I should be here. But as a proud Meadowbrook monarch, I'm thrilled to be here. There are thousands of Meadowbrook High School graduates who are much more worthy. Heck, there's one sitting right there at my table. My lifelong friend, Bud Myers, an internationally known innovator and respected business leader in the hi-fi industry. While I was introducing the Elvin Bishop Band, he was making deals with Japanese corporation presidents and going all over the world. A little background on Meadowbrook High School. While I was there yesterday, after I got through talking to the kids, I made it a point to go out to the parking lot and walk over to the football stadium. Now, the football stadium, it's bigger now and much nicer than it was when we were there. And now they've got this big brick entrance, and it has the name of the stadium on it. The name of the football stadium is the Mac D. Moore Memorial Stadium. A little Meadowbrook history. Mac D. Moore was the very first principal of Meadowbrook. And he died very young, I think in the second year he was there. But he was the George Washington, the founding father of Meadowbrook, and everybody loved Mac D. Moore. So I went over and I'm standing there looking at the sign of Mac D. Moore and thinking about how I got here. And believe it or not, Principal Moore spoke to me. Actually, he didn't speak to me. He spoke to y'all. And I'd like to tell you what he said. Mac D. Moore, the Mr. Meadowbrook, basically, said to me, and I want to get it right, it was pretty loud. Here's what he said. A disc jockey? They chose a disc jockey? Yes, they did, sir. But I raised $1 million, so that's got to be good for something. He didn't really talk to me, but I'm sure he would say that. But seriously, ladies and germs, see, that's never been said at the Bravo Awards before. The Bravo Awards are such a big deal. And like a lot of you, there was one special teacher in my life. And one of the kids asked me about that yesterday. They said, was there one teacher that made a difference? And I went, a lot more than made a difference. Made my life, made me who I am or what I am. I told him that man was a giant among men. And he is here tonight. And he is sitting right there at that table, and his name is Jack Wynn. Please give him a round of applause. So, going into our senior year of high school, the way it worked back then was the band got to vote on who they wanted to be drum major. The saxophone section, oh, I should tell you, I play saxophone. And I told the kids this yesterday. Until last fall, there was an elderly man in Charleston, South Carolina, who passed away at 92. When he passed away, I became the worst saxophone player on the East Coast. So the saxophone section went to Mr. Wynn and said, please make Bill the drum major and get him out of the saxophone section. So I went into this teeny little office that Jack had. I mean, cinder block walls, 8 by 8 or something like that, just room for a desk and his chair behind it. And I sat down and he looked at me and he said, The kids love you, man. They want you to be drum major. But you have got to stop this silly Billy act that you do and stop being such a smartass. So I did for a while. And I was elected drum major. And that man right there set my life on a course. He asked me to go to chorus and be in chorus when I was a junior. And after about 6 weeks, he went, maybe you should go back to band. And then we took music appreciation, as if I didn't appreciate it enough. I love music. Music is the center of my life. And it defines me, everything about me. And if you knew me, I will talk your ear off about music. So I couldn't play music. I wasn't talented enough. So the next best thing was to be on the radio as a disc jockey. Now, a lot of folks think DJ stands for disc jockey. It stands for dumb jerk, actually. That's what my first program director told me. But I had a ball doing it. And I already told you about Bud Myers. But the reason I'm getting this award, to be honest, is because of a few wonderful women in my life. My dad worked 3 to 11 at night during the school week, and I never saw him. He was gone by the time I got home from school. At my house, it was my mom, my 2 sisters, my aunt and her 2 daughters who lived next door, and my grandmother for dinner. It was me and all those women. So I like women a lot. Always have. And I relate to women better than I do to guys. So it's not a big surprise that women had such a big impact on me. So when I was lucky enough to get a job at CBS 6 in 1986, I was working with Cheryl Miller, who is just unbelievable, just a wonderful, brilliant journalist who does not suffer fools well. But she put up with me, and she liked me, and she promoted me, and she told people about me. And that put me on a totally different path. And then there was another lady who we already mentioned, and that's Shelley Perkins. Intelligence, determination. If Shelley Perkins wants something to happen, it's gonna happen. And I'm proof of that I'm standing here tonight because Shelley Perkins wrote the nomination letter. So thank you to those 2. And then finally, 2 more ladies I'd like to thank. One of them is Jessica Knoll, who is my boss at CBS 6 on Virginia this morning. She's the kind of boss that everybody wants. She's smart. She has a real feel for her job. And she's a great people person. And everybody that works for her would follow her anywhere she wants to lead them. And I've been really blessed with that. Well, I mentioned Cheryl, and I mentioned Shelley, and I mentioned, of course, Jess. There's one other lady I'd like to thank tonight. And that is my beautiful yellow bird. Donna saved my life, fixed a broken heart, gives me the confidence to go on every day, and a big, beautiful family that I love more than anything. And I thank her for that. Now, I mentioned that I had a big announcement. I'm almost done. Big announcement. When I was at Meadowbrook yesterday, I talked to Dr. Rice and told her that Bud and I had been to Meadowbrook a couple of years ago because we wanted to put up a plaque to honor Jack Wynn at the school. The principal at the time wasn't into it, to be polite, and it didn't happen. Bud worked a lot on it. But I told Dr. Rice about this yesterday. She showed me a mural in the school that the kids had drawn. She said, "Why don't we do a mural for Mr. Wynn?" It's going to happen. Yeah, buddy. I am thrilled to be up here speaking to you. And like I kind of hinted at, I'm just shocked by the whole thing. Bud and his beautiful wife, Carol, started a radio station. Here comes the commercial. In October. It's called The Breeze, like Virginia Breeze. And I am back on the radio on a streaming radio station. Go to vabreeze.com, get your app today. I'm on from 7 to 11. My lifelong friend is on from 11 till 3. Adam Stubbs, 3 to 7, and it goes on and on. I get to do something I love, and that's something that started at Meadowbrook. It started with music, and it still goes on at 72. So thank you all very much. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to Chesterfield Education Foundation. Thank you very much. You remember person? What's your name? Trinity. This is Trinity. That's Meadowbrook now. Look at that. Yeah. I'm going to set this in front of Jack. You can't keep it, brother. But I'm going to set it in front of you because it's dedicated to you. Thank y'all.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Abel. I'm the very proud principal here at Midlothian High School. Before I introduce our recipient, I'd quickly like to share a little bit about Midlothian High School. Midlothian High School prides itself on high academics and achievement, and in 2019 was recognized a Blue Ribbon School for Excellence. We were the only high school that year in Virginia to receive that award. The year prior to that, the International Center for Leadership and Education recognized us as a model school. But really quickly, I want to share why I believe Midlo is way more than that. Tuesday night, I was there for a girls' state semifinal volleyball match. And as I left my office to head back to the gym, I passed baseball players heading out. They were there for an informational meeting. Then I walked by our bins that we're collecting 5 weeks of giving the students and faculty to support the church across the street that has a food bank. And then I passed wrestlers leaving practice. Really repeat, this is Tuesday evening. It's a regular Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock almost. I passed some wrestlers leaving practice. Looked really tired, by the way, and exhausted. And then I passed kids in the theater. And they're getting ready for their play this weekend that they're putting on, which is amazing, by the way, went last night. And then I pass a bin for our Pause for a Cause that our students in that group organization are putting together to collect toys and treats for pets. Then I pass some students that are heading into the gym where the wrestlers just left, and it's members of our color guard. In the winter, they call them the winter guard. And then I pass students on the way again that were members of our band getting ready for the pet band for the winter. And I head into the gym where there's 15 amazing females on the floor getting ready to win their state semifinal game. So they'll play Saturday night in the state championship for Class 5. And behind me is over 200 students going crazy cheering on their classmates. That to me is what Midlo is all about. The philanthropic giving and the success and working outside the classroom extracurricular. So we're when I say proud, incredibly proud principal of Midlothian High School. So we established a brand called the Community of Excellence. You know, you strive for perfection and you'll land on excellence. And so with that being said, with me tonight, and a member of our Community of Excellence is our student ambassador, who I think will probably be back here in the next 20 years, receiving one of these awards, an amazing young man, Ben Ghazi. And then also a product of our Community of Excellence. Now my pleasure to introduce our Bravo Award recipient, Tanya Gonzalez. Tanya holds, yes, Tanya. Tanya holds a bachelor's degree in Latin American Studies from Brown University and a master's in public education from the Virginia Commonwealth University. She joined the Sacred Heart and Center as the executive director in July of 2016. She's almost 20 years of experience in working with and for Richmond's Latino community. Tanya received the OTIL Award given by the Mexican government to recognize individuals for their service to the Mexican community in the United States. In 2018, she received the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities Humanitarian Award, and in 2020, she was recognized as Richmond History Maker by the Valentine Museum. In 2021, Tanya was recognized as a VCU Alumni Top 10 Under 10 Award. In her free time, which I don't know how she has free time, but she coordinates a dance group at the Sacred Heart Center that performs traditional Latin American and Spanish and dance in the Richmond area. It gives me great pleasure. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Tanya Gonzalez.
Buenas noches. Give me one moment here. Do this. Don't want to drop it. I'm quite overwhelmed and humbled to be here accepting this award. While I have received many recognitions during my career, and I'm so grateful for that, this one in particular is very special because it connects me back to the experiences that really made me who I am as a youth. When I think about my work, my purpose, and my calling in this life, I can't imagine doing anything else but being of service and being welcoming. And the foundations for this calling and purpose all came from my childhood and my youth, where I was born and grew up on the Texas-Mexican border. My multicultural family, and I have my mom here with me tonight. My 1 year in Albany, New York as a middle school youth, and then my high school career at Midlothian High School, here in Chesterfield County Public Schools. I'm a proud graduate of Chesterfield County Public Schools. It was my education there that prepared me to attend and graduate from Brown University for my undergraduate degree, and then much later my MPA at VCU. It was my teachers at Midlothian that supported and encouraged me, so much so that I was recently at a presentation at a local church speaking about Sacred Heart Center and our work. And at the end, a woman came up to me and said, "Tanya, I was your 10th grade math high school teacher. I'm so very proud of you." And so she had recognized me before I recognized her, which I thought was such a testament to the faculty at Midlo that very apparently continues today, as I saw yesterday and heard. Then it was also my clubs, activities, all the extracurricular things that I did that allowed me to begin service projects, and I'm hearing it's continuing on today, almost 30 years later, which is so incredible. And all of that got me out in the community as a teen. From there, going on to Brown, my calling and purpose of servant leadership by welcoming newcomers to the U.S. became clear. But the foundation did start at Midlothian High School. For the last 20 plus years, I've been working here in Richmond, most recently with Sacred Heart Center for the last about 6 years, to do my best to welcome people in every sense of the word. Throughout these years, I've been privileged and honored to see the best and the worst in people. People have trusted me enough to share with me their tragedies and their triumphs. I have seen beautiful families build roots here in Richmond, and children grow up into awe-inspiring adults. I have seen businesses expand and develop, and a newcomer immigrant community begin to thrive. I have also seen families separated by the tragedy of detention and deportation, and devastated by violence, poverty, and more recently, COVID-19 and the increasing economic difficulties. Much has been done, but there is much left to do, and I'm very much aware of that. To be honest with you, this is a bittersweet moment. I can't deny the trajectory of the work that I've done in Richmond, but I still lay awake at night thinking of all that's left to be done, of all the injustices that are still out there. Families struggling to survive, to make better lives for themselves and for their children. Then I go to Sacred Heart Center and I see the smile of a child, or feel the hug of a grandmother, or the strong handshake of a father, and I'm inspired to keep going. So I take this evening and this moment not just as a recognition and a celebration, but as a moment to reflect and recommit to this work, to my community yet again. And I have members of my board here. I'm so grateful for their presence as well. Just yesterday, I was able to go to Midlothian High School, and I was welcomed by Dr. Abel and Ben, who are both here. Such a beautiful welcome they gave me. And I had the opportunity to share my story with about 100 students. Their thoughtful questions, many around, how do I stay motivated? How do I keep myself going? What tools do I use when I'm struggling? All of those questions really touched my heart. And what touched my heart even more was at the end, when approximately 15 Latino students came up and said hello to me, and were so excited to meet me. They were excited to speak Spanish with me at the end of the talk. And many Latin American countries were represented among them. And that just surprised me and impressed me and overwhelmed me. In the early 90s, when I was at Midlothian, I was one of 2 Latino students in a student body of 2,000. Representation matters. And while I'm so grateful to be the first Mexican-American Bravo honoree, I fully believe in turning around and making sure that I support as many young people as possible so that I won't be the only one going forward. And if anything was clear to me yesterday, as well as my work at Sacred Heart Center and the recent challenges that we're seeing among our young people during this pandemic time, it's clear that our young people need our support now more than ever. So I challenge you, as you all have heard challenges already this evening, whether it's volunteering, mentoring, investing in organizations like CEF or Sacred Heart Center, or by advocating and uplifting your voice, I urge all of us in this room to do just that, support our young people. Thank you for this recognition and for this opportunity, for my own recommitment to my calling once again. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I am the proud principal of Carver Academy, the former George Washington Carver High. For those of you not familiar with George Washington Carver High, this school served Chesterfield's students of color during the era of separate but equal. During this time, George Washington Carver High School was not just a learning institution, but a community hub for students and their families. I'm very excited tonight that we have many alumni of George Washington Carver High School with us tonight. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. James A. Jackson. James was born the second of 10 children, many who are here with us tonight, in October 1942 to John and Mary Jackson in Winter Park, Virginia in Chesterfield County. He attended Winter Park Elementary School and George Washington Carver High School, graduating as the salutatorian of his class in June of 1961. James went on to attend Virginia Union University from 1961 to 1965, where he graduated as valedictorian. Now retired, James was a mathematician, data analyst, at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. During this time, he was recognized for his contributions to America's success of the Apollo 11 moon landing mission. As part of this mission, he wrote a mathematical algorithm which helped to verify NASA's capacity to navigate from Earth a lunar landing module landing between two craters on the moon. I will say Mr. Jackson spent time with our students this afternoon and took a couple minutes to explain the algorithm, and it went over everybody's head in the room. In addition to this, James collaborated with a U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel on a memorandum of understanding between NASA and the U.S. Air Force for access to tracking data in support of small Explorer spacecraft. Additionally, he was passionate about education throughout his career, and he was the center's Minority University Program Manager and reported to the White House and President of the United States on the center's activities with historically black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving institutes, and tribal colleges from 1999 to 2001. He also held the position of engineering liaison to the education office during his career with NASA that spanned over 42 years. In addition to this, as a school administrator, I was very excited to learn about all the time he spent tutoring current students and also has served as a substitute teacher. We truly appreciate that. Please help me welcome to the stage James A. Jackson.
Thank you all for being here. You know, I wasn't supposed to be here. My mother would tell me the story of her practice every day at 3 o'clock of tucking me in and going up at a quarter of a mile to get water from a spring as a source of drinking water for the family. One fall day at 3 o'clock, our two-frame house went to the ground. For some unexplained reason, she did not go to the spring that day. So she would remind me of that along the way. And God has given me 80 years, bringing me to this moment where I can speak before you. This is probably the biggest platform I've been on. I've been in conferences with thousands of people, but this is different. So I've tried several times to write a 5-minute speech, and it doesn't work. I write small, I write in margins, top and bottom, and it keeps growing. So I'm going to start off with gratitudes. And I thank God, and I'm a man of faith, and I've needed faith to take me through some of the trials that I've been through. It hasn't always been easy. What you've heard might sound like it was smooth sailing, well planned, but it was a bumpy road along the way. I'm a product of the segregated school system of Chesterfield County, but what I got from learning in the schools and working in a rural area in Winter Park, I tried to use that as opportunities came along to do good things. I learned to deal with mundane tasks from working on a farm. I learned to recognize my gifts in terms of eye-hand coordination, to do manual things. Most importantly, to play softball, to learn how to smash a ball like I saw my dad smash the axe in lumbering. So thank God, and I want to thank Dr. Hackett and the Carver school for hosting me today. I think I had a great time. I enjoyed it and hopefully made something happen that will be exciting to them going forward. In addition to that, I'd like to thank my family. I have 6 sisters and a brother and some of their spouses and a niece here tonight. And a special colleague of mine, Yvette Conwell and her husband Derwin. Yvette and I were together for some 25 years at the Goddard Space Flight Center. And one time we were working on a project. When NASA puts something up, we have to plan for it to come down. Well, we put a Greyhound bus-sized satellite into orbit. Actually, we were planning to do it, and it was delayed. But during the delay, Yvette and I had the opportunity to work on reentering. We were going to take a Greyhound-sized bus and bring it back into the ocean so that it wouldn't fall like on Chesterfield. You know, the satellite comes over a couple times a day, you know, and it doesn't have an engine to say drive it. You know, we have to manipulate it to bring it down. And I can say that some successes brought it down into the ocean some years later. But Yvette was instrumental because at my retirement, she brought me into a retirement party that I wasn't particularly interested in. And she said, we're going to bring some of your peers from your early days on up to the time you retire, and we're going to have it at your church. She put it in a region that I would be comfortable with. I didn't want to go back to the workplace at that particular time. But out of that, I heard the testimony of my colleagues from day one to day end. And I saw and heard things from them that I thought were routine along the way. And that awakened something in me to say, you know, my mission is not yet over. Since then, I've been Sunday school director for 7 years on a 2-week handshake to give it a try out of necessity. I continue to work with students there. I'm a registered tutor with Y-Zone, and I do some things voluntarily. So I'm excited. If I have a moment, I'll read a statement. But coming back to thank you, I want to thank my wife for helping, Dorothy, for helping me get here today and for seeing me through this endeavor. There have been some apprehensions for this day to come. You know, I dealt with Media Day. It was a joyful situation, and coming along the way, you know, but tonight is at least one milestone that we will reach. And if God gives me the time, the strength, I will look forward to doing some things with CEF and Carver and others who might want to engage me. Ashley Hewitt, my niece, was instrumental in fostering the nomination, which brought me to this point. She's not here with us, but I want to acknowledge her and thank her and the Carverites who carried the campaign to bring me into the fold of 6 awardees. I congratulate my fellow awardees and thank you. Somewhere you usually miss somebody, but if I miss somebody, I thank you for your role. My church, community, the school, and 4-H Club were very instrumental in helping me develop into whoever I am, you know, apart from the gifts that God gave me. And I'm thankful for that. I work with Dr. Hackett in his school today, and you know, we went over some things, and I hope that I left some favorable impressions upon him and the students, and I'm committed to do some things. I was honored by the plaque and the poster bearing my name, and as awardee here, and I look forward to that. I've said some things about, Dr. Hackett told you about what I did with NASA. How did I come about reporting to the White House? Well, there's such a thing as presidential initiatives. The president has the prerogative in a budget to do some things that are not in the normal budget. And one of those programs is called Minority University Program Activities. So whatever a government agency does, it has to be reported to the White House. So I was in a position for a time to collect the Center's report and pass it on for use in the president's report. So that's how I got, it's not something that ordinarily comes along, but I had the opportunity to do that for a while. In closing, let me just say something about tutoring. As I said, I'm registered with WIZO. That's a registered tutoring organization. You have some certifications. I tutor in math, and I'm enjoying it. When the pandemic shut us down person to person, I had enough video conference experience with NASA and a little bit on the side tutoring to not miss a beat. You know, I just picked it up with Zoom and free conference call, and I just had a good time. My students and parents, I think, appreciate it as well. So in closing, I just want to share a moment with you. If I've forgotten some key items, we'll forget that. If I get a chance to put it in my memoirs, you know, when I start writing, it becomes just a collection of paper or typed information. I got to put it together. But when I left here, the only experience I had working with white men who had businesses, I had one person of color in my management chain, and that was a Mr. Tabb, who had a sawmill and did logging business in Winter Park and Chesterfield County. One summer, I worked as the roller, the person that brought the logs down from the pile to the saw. On occasions, we would go out in the woods and cut the logs for timber. But I used those experiences to help me. I mentioned this morning that one day I had to chop the second of two growth of corn from kernels. When the planter came along, it would put two kernels down, and if two came up, the farmer wanted you to eliminate one. Well, it took me to the field, and I looked behind me, the sun was coming up, and I spanned around in the opposite direction, and I could see night coming before I would finish that field. It taught me how to deal with mundane things. Initially, I said, how am I going to get this done? But I found that I had good eye-hand coordination, and my task was to chop one of the two stalks up. So I found that usually the corn was like 2 inches apart, and that was good enough for me to get a rhythm and a pattern and just go through that field like a machine. When he came back at lunch, it was all done to his satisfaction. So things that came along just out of daily activity and things, I learned from them. I worked in road construction. I worked at the wood factory. Later on, I worked at Millen Rose and later at Tollhammers and at Reynolds in Richmond. Each of those experiences taught me something that I could use when I moved on up. Didn't have a plan to go to NASA when I graduated from high school. I only had 4-H club mentors, leaders, school principals and teachers, and I knew one dentist as I was about to graduate from high school. So I didn't have a model. I didn't know how to work with little white boys and little white girls. So when my daughter came home and said, I want to learn soccer. In the first grade, we didn't have soccer here when I was in school. Going north, it was more prevalent. But I had to learn soccer. And I spent 9 months in Nigeria, West Africa. I had a chance to learn soccer, but I didn't have the foresight to say I ought to learn this game while I'm there. But I had to learn it from encyclopedias. That was our basic source of information. But I learned the game, I worked with other coaches, and then for our 3 children, I worked with them in baseball, soccer, and basketball until they were through middle school. Here's what tutoring says. The mother reached across racial lines and said, Mr. James, that's what they call me, said, Mr. James, my daughter needs help. Will you help her with algebra? we worked. The daughter didn't want a tutor, didn't want a tutor. But her first session, the mother came back and said her daughter was tremendously excited and she was ready to go to work. At the end of the term, the mother reached out to all the tutors that were working with her daughter and asked them to write a comment for the mother to put in the child's booklet, journal. She asked me for my comments, and this is what I had, and I sent to her, and this will be my conclusion. Danielle, oh, by the way, the girl was a softball player. So I kept that in mind as I was working with her. So when she got discouraged, I would throw something in from softball and get her excited again so she could have confidence, hopefully, to do her work. This is what I said. Danielle, in math, strive to keep the system balanced. In sports, strive to keep the opponent off balance. In life, strive to be honorable and godly. Then you will be the best you can be. Congratulations, best wishes, and blessings. Your math tutor, James. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you here tonight to recognize Elsie Bird's 13th Bravo Award recipient. I was counting in the program. I think we have the highest, but I'm not bragging. Just proud. Elsie Bird opened in 1978, and over the past 44 years, we have prided ourselves on being a school where champions reign. And we are here tonight to recognize our champion, the class of 1987, and with us is his family, the Nick Patel's family, as well as two of our amazing teachers that graduated with him, Coach Matt Bland and Coach Troy Taylor. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow night, our coaches will coach the second round Region 5C semifinal game, so we're excited. Thanks for being here tonight. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Nick Patel. Nick is the owner and president of the Callion Hospitality. He was born in West Bromwich, England, but relocated to the United States in 1982. Nick was raised with a strong work ethic and a forward-thinking outlook. He finished his higher education at the Virginia Commonwealth School of Pharmacy, but always possessed an entrepreneurial spirit. In 1997, Nick made a bold move with the support of his parents and embarked on his first project, the Sleep Inn Hotel located in Richmond, Virginia. The development of the 51-room hotel would lay the roots for what would become one of the most respected hospitality development and management companies in the state of Virginia. I have with me here tonight Brett Dent. We dream big at Bird. So to present the award, please welcome to the stage Nick Patel.
Am I being punked? Where are the hidden cameras here? How do you follow these previous inductees? First, I would like to congratulate my fellow inductees. I do not know the criteria being selected was, but I'll accept the award before I'm kicked off stage. But seriously, I am truly honored and humbled to be receiving this Bravo Award. I am proud to represent my alma mater, Lloyd C. Bird High School. Go Skyhawks. Coach Taylor, Coach Bland, you guys are doing awesome. Let's win the state championship. I'm accepting this award because I'm a product of Chesterfield County Public Schools. But in fairness, I'm also a product of my parents' upbringing. I am so thankful for their unwavering encouragement and showing me that hard work would get me the results I was looking for. I also cannot accept this award without the help of the co-founder of Callion Hospitality, who happens to be my life partner, my wife, Rita Patel. If she did not attend Anna, Illinois school system, she would be the recipient tonight. My journey to Chesterfield County starts with my parents moving from the great city of London, England, to a very rural Chesterfield County. My parents purchased a 1960s era roadside motel on Jefferson Davis Highway. I don't think I can say that word, can I? Okay, called the Martha K Motel. I am blessed that they decided to do so, as this would spark what would be my introduction to business and real estate. Starting school at Lloyd C. Bird High School was interesting, to say the least. Chesterfield County in 1982 was not a diverse place. Me being of East Indian descent, but having a heavy English Cockney accent, I did not fit in with any particular cliques. I enjoyed new wave music like Depeche Mode and Duran Duran, while everybody else was into John Cougar Mellencamp and the Go-Go's. I enjoyed British soccer, while everybody else was into American football. It was finally in geometry class where I met a star student athlete that I would have an unlikely lifetime friendship with. Matt Bland was fascinated with my knowledge of new wave music and anything to do with England. Matt soon after developed a love for my mom's Indian cooking and became very close with my family. I had the pleasure of being taught by so many brilliant teachers. Mr. Slosser, who I had math and computer class with. Mr. Mingus, who I had English literature with. Coach Waters, who would allow me to skip gym when I conveniently said I forgot my gym clothes because it was freezing outside, but would find shorts for anyone else using my excuse. Thank you for helping mold me into who I am today. Growing up on Jefferson Davis Highway was an education in itself. Living in a motel, me and my sister had chores. Before the school bus picked us up, we had to go pull the linen from any guest that had checked out. Weekends, for me and my sister, were not leisurely at all. We would be up by at least 8 o'clock, and we would help our parents clean rooms. Keep in mind, the Martha K Motel was not a Marriott resort. My parents took turns manning the front desk for 24 hours a day. I do not recall taking any vacations for 15 years. The focus for them was if they did not make it, then we do not eat. With that focus, the motel was successful. They paid off debts from their friends and family, paid for my sister's wedding, and put me through college. I could have played the victim card, as I came from the poorest side of Chesterfield County. Instead, I used my experiences at the Martha K Motel to learn the value of hard work. With those lessons and basic hard work and grit, I built my first hotel in 1996 on Willis Road, a quarter of a mile from where I grew up. This would be the first hotel that would form my company called Callion Hospitality, Callion, which is my grandfather's name. Today, 26 years later, I have developed over 30 hotels in the state of Virginia, New York, Oregon, Washington State. Also, I've developed a Class A student housing project called Altitude at James Madison University. Thanks to the education I received, my parents' examples, and through my own grit and determination, I am having a positive impact on my industry. In addition, I'm proud to say that I've been able to give back to my community by creating over 1,000 well-paying jobs in construction and the hospitality industries. Chesterfield County school system has given so much to me and my family. I, along with my sister, attended Lloyd C. Bird High School. My niece and nephew went to Thomas Dale. My son went to Matoka, and my daughter went to Cosby High School. All of us received a first-class education. From there, I went on to VCU. My kids went to University of Virginia, and my son did his master's at Duke University. I urge everyone to get involved in improving public education, especially for the underrepresented families that do not have a voice because they are busy putting basic needs for their families first. I could have been one of those kids that slipped through the cracks. Please support the Chesterfield Education Foundation by not only donating money, but by volunteering your time and mentoring our youth. Please also support the great work that Matt Bland does with the Success Program. The Success Program assists at-risk youth with a pathway to graduation. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Baber, and I am the luckiest person in this room because I have the great pleasure of serving a standout community as principal of Matoaka High School. When you're lucky enough to be principal of Matoaka, every day is a great day because you're a warrior. Matoaka High School is a school like no other. Nestled in the far southeast corner of the county, Matoaka High School is a true hidden gem of Chesterfield County. While schools are often recognized for things such as academic achievement, the true measure of a school's success is the accomplishments of its graduates and the positive impact those graduates have on the world around them. With the faculty, staff, and community united as one Matoaka family, it is no surprise that the Chesterfield Education Foundation is regularly able to recognize the great accomplishments of our graduates. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Javed Siddiqui. Javed is the president and CEO of the Hunt Institute. During his tenure, the Institute has expanded its scope of work beyond K-12 to include the entire education continuum, from early childhood to post-secondary and the workforce. Javed's career spans more than 20 years in education and education reform and policy. He began his professional career as a high school teacher, assistant principal, and as a principal right here in Chesterfield County, where he led implementation of expeditionary learning, a nationally recognized school reform model. As Secretary of Education for Governor Bob McDonald's cabinet, Javed assisted in the development and implementation of the Commonwealth's education policy and provided guidance to 16 public universities, the Virginia Community College System, 5 higher education and research centers, the Department of Education, and state-supported museums. In addition to an extensive history of leadership service, Javed continues to actively serve his community and state. He currently serves on the Elevate Early Education Board and the National Center for Teacher Residency Boards. And tonight, joining me on stage is a Matoaka warrior, Miss Ashley Walker, who follows in footsteps in education as a member of our Mirror Me program in Chesterfield County. And without further ado, please help me in welcoming to the stage a true Matoaka warrior, Dr. Javed Siddiqui.
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank Tyron and the entire staff at the foundation for putting on this great program. So thank you so much, Tyron. Thank you to Dr. Doherty. It's good to see you from this side of the, not dealing with school board stuff, especially in the last couple years. Thank you to your entire administration. I appreciate everything that Chesterfield has done for me. I want to first start out by thanking folks at my, sitting at the table. My father. Everything I am is because of this man. He set a standard so high, it's unattainable. When you come to terms with that, you find peace. I say that, my 16-year-old son sits beside him. But I want to thank my dad and my mom, who's no longer with us, for helping me become the person I am. I also want to thank my amazing in-laws, Tony and Maureen. You know, man couldn't be so lucky. Tony's one of my, I call him one of my best friends. I'll thank you both for being here. And most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Karen. She's been with me, my ride or die, since junior year. I think it was like junior year of college. We dated for many years. We've been together a long time. It's been a great run. Our daughter's not with us today. She's finishing 2 exams today, 2 tomorrow, and a coaches meeting tomorrow morning at NC State. She's a D1 soccer athlete. But our 16-year-old son, who is a product of, soon-to-be product, if he stays on the right path of James River, like his daughter. So Chesterfield has been in our family. I've literally grown up in Chesterfield. I grew up in Chesterfield, on Chesterfield Avenue in Ettrick. A lot of people didn't know where Ettrick was until Posse. James Ferrier, Ettrick, and James Ferrier put Ettrick on the map. I'm way down yonder putting Ettrick on the map, but we grew up in a community, it was black, white, and Siddiquis. We heard that Tanya was talking about that. It's the truth. And in that time, you learn to assimilate. You learn to become a chameleon. You learn different cultures and different interests. And I was fortunate enough to be accepted in many different circles, and I think that really forged who I have become in life. I want to thank my school board colleagues that are with us, that are still with us. This thing is going, this timer is going. It never would have made any sense for some of the watchdogs, I can tell you that right now. But I want to thank our entire school board, John Urbach, our former chair, and his own foundation board, continued service to the county. I appreciate, John, you for being here. I want to thank the self-proclaimed egg king of Midlothian, Rob Thompson, and his beautiful wife and friends of our family, Carla. I appreciate both of you being here. Special shout out to Rob, because Rob is a man who's a man on a mission. If he wants something, he gets it done. And I appreciate his nomination of me. I know he worked closely with my dear colleague from the Hunt Institute, Michelle, and I thank our team at the Institute and appreciate you being here. And lastly, I want to thank Diane Smith. Diane's had her hands in everything there is in Chesterfield. She's one way or another, she's influenced it. And I'll tie this back to my wife and my father. Growing up in the community in which I grew up, there was 3 things, and we're recently coming off Halloween. There's 3 things you could be growing up. You was either going to dress up as a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, because those are the 3 things. Those are the standards. You had to be that. So I went through my entire childhood up until my junior year of college thinking I was going to be a doctor. I never really wanted to be a doctor. So I was a pre-med major, and my wife, then. We were, I don't know, what do they call it now to Josh? They're not even date. They weren't going steady. We were talking. We were talking. She gave me the courage to go talk to my dad and tell him, I don't want to be a doctor. That conversation I dreaded. I literally dreaded it. And it was a great, easy conversation. You don't have to go to med school, but you will have to get a job, and you will have to get out of here in a year. So that's how I got a degree in biology, and that's how I happened into teaching, because there was a shortage at Meadowbrook High School. So I literally graduated, and the next thing I know, a 22-year-old kid, I'm sitting in front of 19, 20-year-old kids at Meadowbrook High School teaching them biology too, and biology, and I fell in love with it. Fell in love with teaching. But I went back to school because I had a standard. He was a professor. I'm going back to school, went to graduate school and got my PhD, and became a school leader. It was an all-time favorite job. And that would not have happened without Diane Smith. Because Diane Smith gave me a call when she was the director of school leadership, executive director of leadership. She was in charge of, she was the kingmaker of making leaders, the next generation of leaders. And somehow she saw something in me, she heard some things about me, but she gave me a chance, and I went into the inaugural doctoral cohort at VCU that she helped sort of find funding for. I'm not sure how they found funding. Joe Casey figured it out. She lobbied the county administration. They got money, and they helped offset the cost of our doctoral program, and that allowed me to find the next steps. And that next step came with my dear friend, our dear board member at the Hunt Institute, Laura Fornash. Novi was the Secretary of Education with Governor McDonnell, and she called me because we were doing some really cool things, and asked me to consider joining the administration. For me, I've been addicted to having an impact on young people. And when you're a classroom teacher, you have 150, 200 kids. Nowadays, it might be 1,000 kids. I know it's getting crazy out there. School assistant principal, 500, 600. Assistant principal, 1,500, 2,000. Yeah, lots of kids to go work for the Commonwealth, and 1.2 million at the time. I know it's more now. 1.2. It was really a unique opportunity. And Laura, that moment, that phone call, that opportunity changed my life, and I'm grateful for you. You know that, and you're one of my dearest friends. I know I can count on you and call on you at any time, and know that that call will be answered. And Laura is also a Bravo Award winner. All right, I'm going to bring it home because I got 6 text messages that says, please stick to 5 minutes. I want to thank, at our table, Mr. Leroy Lane. Mr. Lane, who looks the same, by the way, he's 70-some years old now, was my 11th grade pre-calculus teacher. And I was very fortunate growing up in Chesterfield and Matoka, working on a national campaign now with the Hunt Institute with elected leaders all over the country. It's called 1 Million Teachers of Color. If you don't know about it, Google it. We have a shortage of 1 million teachers of color in our country, meaning we need 1 million teachers to make our classrooms reflective of the communities they're serving. I was reflecting back, I had 11 teachers of color, 11 black teachers I had during my K-12 journey. No one more important than Mr. Lane. I was a smart kid, I think. I was not motivated at all times because schooling sometimes came a little too easy for me. I struggled in math because I realized I had to work, I had to study. He asked me, "Do you studying?" No. So I'd go in his classroom, we'd cut up, and he'd made me feel very comfortable and safe. And I went to him because I started really thinking about college, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking at this Boys State thing. What do you think?" My math teacher, not my social studies or history teacher, my math teacher did all the work for me, got me in the Boys State. I didn't realize how important that would be 15 years later when I'm working for the governor. I actually knew a thing or two about policy making because of my time at Boys State. And, you never know as a former teacher, as a school leader, you never know how many kids you impact or who you impact. Did you have an impact? It was really important for me to make sure you sat at this table with me tonight because this award is as much yours as it is mine. So I want to thank you, Mr. Lane, from the bottom of my heart. And the last two people I want to thank, and I'm grateful that I didn't know he was going to be here, shocked me, and he probably doesn't even know I was going to thank him. I was a first-year school leader. I got into it, I was a young buck. I was like 29 years old. Parent came in there. The parent was wrong. I still, to this day, the parent was wrong. The parent said that they didn't know that they were having a party, and I got into it with the parent. And Bobby Wingfield, the then director of middle school, is now retired. Apparently he's enjoying life. Bobby came over to the school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He came over, and he had a book from Tony Dungy, and he sat into my desk. He says, "Tony Dungy, Quiet Strength." I still have that book. And he told me, "You were right, but sometimes being right is being quiet and allowing them the opportunity." And for a young man, especially a young man, you need to learn humility is a very important trait. And Bobby gave me a chance to be a school leader at a very young age. More importantly, he stuck with his decision to stay with me when I'm sure there was a lot of talk to think about whether that was the right decision. So Bobby, I want to thank you for being here this evening. It's a surprise. No, I was going to give you a shout out. And lastly, most importantly, he's not with us. He's 85 years old, Governor Hunt. Governor Hunt is a 4-term Democratic governor from North Carolina, and I lead his great institute. He's taught me so much in our 10 years together, and I'm so grateful that I had this time with him. I'm so grateful that I still have those phone calls with him. There is no better leader for me, a leader of people, a leader of humans. We talk about equity. The things I've learned from him, the things he's done, the way he diversified his cabinet and his state, the work he's doing and has done across the country, educating governors to really invest in early childhood education, in K-12 education, and also in post-secondary education. The movements he's made, I'm grateful to be associated with, and I stand before you in accepting this award because of all the great people that have been with me. So thank you so much, and thank you again to the foundation.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Anthony McLaurin, proud principal of Thomas Dale High School deep in Chester, Virginia. Let's hear it, let's hear it. Founded in the illustrious year of 1906, Thomas Dale High School is the oldest school in Chesterfield County. Also with approximately 2,500 students, we're the largest as well. We have an extremely talented student body as well as staff, numerous awards in athletics. We are the Specialty Center for the Fine and Performing Arts, so numerous awards in chorus, orchestra, and theater, as well as academic awards. Also hope that you all will be able to join us tomorrow evening during a blustery 6A playoff game where we take on the Manchester Lancers. Thomas Dale is proud to bring back one of our own. It's my pleasure to introduce to you all Ms. Catherine Williams. Catherine is a licensed, let's hear it for Catherine. Thank you. Catherine is a licensed architect in Northern Virginia and currently senior project manager for construction at Georgetown University. Her career path includes work in traditional architecture firms, community development, and managing commercial construction for a general contractor. Catherine has written about architecture and development and served as editor for multiple publications. Recently, one of her books was approved for distribution in CCPS school libraries and will be placed in all the elementary schools. Catherine served as chair of the AIA Housing and Community Development KC Advisory Group and currently serves on the AIA Continuing Education Committee. She is a board member of the Village of Love Resistance, working to build cooperative community in East Baltimore. We also have with us we have Riley Little with us this afternoon, senior class president. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Catherine Williams to the stage.
All right, I'm going to be the young one in the group and do this. Okay, there we go. I will say this is a little intimidating, being the youngest of the group and also last after all of those great speeches. I'm very humbled by this award. I was nominated by my aunt, who's here at the table with me. So my mom's two sisters are here with me, and my grandmother's sister, so two aunts and a great aunt. Very happy to have them here, and then my daughter's here somewhere in the audience. So thank you for them for being here. I also wanted to say that one of the things thinking about this award and thinking about Chesterfield, so wasn't mentioned in my intro, but I'm truly a product of Chesterfield. So I started at Enon Elementary when I was in kindergarten, and I went to Chester Middle School and then graduated from Thomas Dale High School. So I spent all of my time in school here in Chesterfield. And I also feel very humbled because the people who were awarded with me tonight, I feel, as I mentioned, I think when we met on Media Day, that I was pleasantly surprised by how many shared connections. My mom listened to WREA and the radio, and so I heard Bill Bevins when I was younger all the time on the radio. Mr. Jackson, gosh. So Mr. Jackson's sister was my Girl Scout leader all through my time. Actually, two sisters, I should say. Sarah and Linda were my Girl Scout leaders, and I probably would not be here without their support. Not only support when I was a kid, but me being a Girl Scout is how I got introduced to architecture. So a lot of people think or ask me, especially as a Black woman, if you don't know, there are approximately 560, yes, 560 licensed Black women architects in the US out of 116,000. architects. So we are less than 1% of licensed architects in the US. So I got introduced to architecture because I was at a Girl Scout career fair when I don't remember the age, I was about 8 or 9, somewhere in elementary school, and I don't remember the architect, which still bothers me to this day. But there was a woman who was an architect there, and at the time, I was really interested in art. I was very good at math, which I will say in Chesterfield, I displayed talent when I was young in elementary school, so I was pressed forward as far as math and science when I was in school. And that pushed me into thinking about architecture and thinking about design. And then my mom, who unfortunately is not here with us today because she passed, once she saw that interest in me, she sought out every camp, every after-school program that she could find, some of those in Chesterfield, some of those at universities around Virginia. But because of that, I was really introduced to the career field and then also given the tools as a young person to figure out like how I could go to college, what I needed to study, what programs and colleges were available to me, and that sort of set me on my path. I wanted to also mention a little bit about the teachers and the schools that I did come through. So I definitely identify with Javid talking about teachers of color. My kindergarten teacher was a Black woman, and so I think for me, like it wasn't a thing, right? For me to think about like who was in front of me and the examples that were in front of me. I still use her name this day as a password on some of my logins. And I also wanted to, I think a lot of the teachers that I had in Chesterfield always, one, showed care for me as a student, showed care for my interests and really sort of helped propel me, and knew that for me as a student, I think I always knew that I had support, and I always knew that I had people that I could go to when I had questions, when I needed to figure out whatever it was, you know, whether it was school or whether it was figuring out that next step after school. And so I did also want to mention a couple other teachers who were just instrumental. So my art teacher in high school was Patricia Fairley, very instrumental for me. I had her for 2 years, and then when I was thinking about going to architecture school and portfolio and things that I need to prepare for that, she helped me with that. And then Nita Burchett was, actually, I don't think Nita was ever actually a teacher of mine, but she was my cheerleading coach all 4 years at Thomas Dale. And when I came back to Chesterfield in 2012 or so, 2013, she graciously said like, hey, come and coach with me for a year. I wasn't working at the time. I was just trying to like take a pause on my career and stuff. And she's like, hey, come coach with me. And so I coached at Matoaka actually for a year when she was there. And she's always been a good support for me and my, whatever I wanted to do. So I just wanted to thank them. I also wanted to thank my fellow awardees and also past awardee, Dr. Lachelle Waller, who's here. We've been friends forever because we grew up together, and she's a past awardee, and like me, she has also been really interested in making sure students who grew up where we were in the south end of Chesterfield really had opportunity. So I've been happy to help work with her in her nonprofit, and really had the opportunity to come back and do architecture days for students in her camp, which has been great because I love teaching, and I love sort of sharing my path, but also for this, just similar as I got that introduction to architecture at a young age, bringing that back to students here in Chesterfield. I also wanted to say that I think for me, I stand here as a representative of many people, not just my family, but the community, as I came from with both the Jacksons and the Thompsons and the Newsomes, all in the audience here today. And I think that growing up where I did, that there were many people who probably, like others said, could be on this stage. And just thinking about Chesterfield, hearing stories of my parents and my family, as Dr. Jackson or Mr. Jackson talked about, going to Carver, my parents were in the first group of kids that actually integrated Chesterfield County Schools, so I'd heard stories about that when I was growing up, and students who, some went to Thomas Dale, some stayed at Carver, and hearing stories from both sides of that. So I stand on their shoulders and the people who came before me, and I thank you to the Chesterfield Education Foundation for this award and for recognizing me, and thank you for everyone here in the audience for being here.
And may we get one more round of applause for all 6 nominees. Real briefly, and this is with the utmost respect for everybody's belief, faith, there was a tragedy that we all know about that happened on Monday. So just for a short moment, if we could have a moment of silence for those that were victims. Thank you. I learned a lot over these past 6 nominees, and I took some bullet points of what I learned, okay? You ready for this, young man? All right, here we go. Jack, when Bill came up here, the first thing you yelled out to him was, "Be brief." I learned that Bill still does not listen to anything that is being said. I was also today years old when I realized that there was a black race, a white race, and a Siddiqui race. I was today years old when I realized that. I was very inspired by Mr. Patel and his story as to how he arrived here living in a motel on Jeff Davis. And I liked how you said, can I still say that? Because we are in the cancel culture, so you need to check and see if you can say it. But I never thought anybody would walk outside of a hotel or motel on Jeff Davis and look at it and say, you know what? I'm gonna get me one of these. Two more points, slightly. I definitely know that Catherine is the youngest of the honorees. I could tell that. Not only do you look like the youngest of the honorees, but you were the only one that took a selfie for the gram, and I can appreciate that. And for those that don't know what the gram is, don't even worry about it. Mr. James, you were bragging, and I could hear you bragging. Did you notice that he was the one at 80 years old talking about, yeah, when Zoom happened, I already knew how to handle it. He was bragging. I know what you were doing. And last but not least, and one that really touched me the most, Tanya, Ms. Gonzalez. You proved what I already knew, and that is the fact that there are other things going on at that border than what the media is telling us. You are the prime example of why we need to know the whole story and not just bits and pieces. That's not a joke. That meant from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. We hope that you all enjoyed the 2022 Bravo Awards. Thank you all for coming out. I've been your host. I'm comedian Micah Bam Bam White. God bless y'all. And I hope to see y'all again as Bill hosts the next year. I got you. God bless you.